We are now a week into the UAW strike, and negotiations have not realized any resolution so far. Two of the Detroit three begun layoffs as Stellantis has made a renewed offer to workers. All this as tomorrow's noon deadline looms for the union to expand its picket lines. Here with more, Yahoo Finance's Praz Subramanian and Rick Newman. Praz, let's start with you. What are you seeing?
Hey, Josh, we have that noon deadline looming tomorrow for additional strikes if this actually happens, if it goes through. We've been seeing that substantial progress is the key word that the union is looking for. So we haven't heard much about the Stellantis offer you mentioned, but the UAW has acknowledged receiving it. We'll see what happens. And meanwhile, those strikes, GM and Stellantis are facing ripple effects from those ongoing stand-up strikes, with GM laying off nearly 2,000 workers at its Fairfax, Kansas facility because of a lack of parts. And Stellantis is looking at laying off over 350 workers across two plants due to various issues stemming from the ongoing strike at its Toledo assembly plant.
And Rick, I know you've been kind of watching, or at least breaking down, the arguments that we've been hearing from both sides on the UAW, talking about why they are in fact asking for this roughly 40% raise. You've been kind of looking at where the profits have been on the big three side. What have you found?
Right. And this battle is ongoing. This is sort of the PR war, if you will. It's going. We had dueling op-eds in the Detroit Free Press this week. GM President Mark Royce said GM has made a good offer, and the UAW vice president came back the next day and said, oh, but GM is paying billions of dollars in stock buybacks, and they've made record profits and so on. So I looked at profitability. It is true that the three Detroit automakers have been nicely profitable during the last several years, but they don't stand out from other automakers in any way when you look at profit margins. Putting Tesla aside for a second, Toyota has the best average profit margin during the last 10 years, and that's only around 7.3%. I mean, we're not even talking double-digit profit margins here. This is not Apple we're talking about. Tesla has gotten into double-digit profit margins. And I think every other automaker would love to have the profits Tesla does. They just don't. The Detroit Three have, they're in the middle of the pack on profit margins during the last, whether you look at it during the last single year, 2022, or you average it over the last 10 years. So they're doing okay, but they are not doing any better than any other automaker. And meanwhile, they do have higher labor costs because they have unionized labor, and the UAW is basically saying those labor costs should go higher still.
It certainly points to the challenges, but of course, worth noting again, we're up against yet another deadline. Tomorrow marks one full week of this UAW strike. Rick Newman and Praz Subramanian, as always, thanks so much for that.